You know, standing here tonight surrounded by so many familiar faces and so many new friends as well, I'm just overwhelmed by a single thought. This isn't just a fundraiser, it's a declaration of hope. For those who are new to Teen Challenge family, those that haven't really understood who we are, I'm just going to give you just a tiny snapshot of who we are. Teen Challenge began on the streets of New York in 1958. It was founded by Reverend David Wilkinson. Some of you may know his story from that powerful book, The Cross and the Switchblade, and if you haven't read it, can I encourage you to get a copy? It's an incredible testimony of obedience, compassion, and the birth of a movement that is now global. Today, Teen Challenge operates in 140 countries. We have over 1,400 programs, and we have 20,000 long-term rehabilitation beds worldwide. Every centre is autonomous, responsible for its own governance, operations, and fundraising. Oh, that's my job, part of my job. Here in Australia, we're represented in every state except for the ACT and the Northern Territory. So what does it look like, Teen Challenge in Queensland? Well, we operate 2 residential rehabilitation centres in Toowoomba, a separate men's and women's facility. We also have crisis accommodation and transition housing for young men on the north side of Brisbane. We provide family support, aftercare and practical life skill training. And something that I'm especially proud of is that we are the first rehab centre in the world to integrate the Arrowsmith program. It's a program that's based on the science of neuroplasticity, and we integrated that into our rehabilitation model, and it has been an astounding success to see so many young people just really improve cognitively. Some that have never read a book before, they can all of a sudden want to read. It's just been amazing. It's given them real hope for their future. So I want to thank the lovely Kylie Ransley, who leads Empowering Lives. You are amazing. And all this we do with one thing in mind, is for lasting transformation. It's not about the Band-Aid. It's about something that is real, something that is sustainable, real life change in people. We're here tonight because we believe in something greater. We believe that no matter how far someone has fallen, they are not beyond redemption. We believe that brokenness isn't the end of anyone's story. We believe that every person deserves a second chance at life. It's the reason I'm standing here tonight. For the past 14 years, I've had the privilege of being the CEO of Teen Challenge Queensland, and over that time, I've seen a lot. I sat with mothers whose eyes hold years of heartache. I've listened to young men who've gone through violence and homelessness and deep trauma. I've watched women bravely surviving and then finding their footing again and beginning to live. Over the years, one of the most powerful truths that I've come to know is this: we can offer the very best practice in rehabilitation, which we absolutely do. Our methods are proven, our staff are deeply experienced, and our programs are extremely solid. But true transformation, the kind that reaches deep down into a person's soul and brings all of those shattered pieces together, can only come from God. The kind of healing, though in our centre, that sort of healing cannot be manufactured. Because it's not just about detoxing a body, it's about restoring a life. Let me tell you about Ali. She arrived in our women's centre with her whole life in a single garbage bag. She was gaunt and guarded and totally exhausted. She barely spoke for the first 2 weeks that she was with us. But then something began to shift. It wasn't just the structure, although that really did matter. It wasn't just the counselling, although that really did help her. It was that someone looked into her eyes and said these following words: "You are not too far gone. You're loved and you're worth fighting for. That's our mission. That's when she started to come back to life. And I remember her saying this just before her graduation. You didn't give up on me, even when I gave up on myself. You believed for something better than what I could see. That's what this night is all about. It's about the alleys of this world. The world tells people that you're too broken, you're too far gone, you're too damaged. But at Teen Challenge Queensland, we see people through a very different lens. We see their potential and we see things we don't see the problems, we see past that, we see their purpose. We don't just run programs. We create spaces where these men and women can encounter grace, truth, structure, and love, sometimes for the very first time in their life. But friends, I can't sugarcoat this for us. We are in crisis. One person dies every 5 hours in Australia from a drug overdose. Our national drug death rate is 2.5 times the global average in Australia. Overdose is the second leading cause of death of Australians aged 30 to 39, behind suicide. Addiction does not discriminate. It's ruthless and it's growing. Yet in the face of this, your generosity allows us to stand as a beacon of hope. Tonight, you're not just here attending a gala, you're standing in the gap for the next alley. The next father who wants to break the generational cycle of addiction. The next daughter who just needs someone to believe that they're worthwhile saving. The next young man who's searching for a way out of their despair. At Teen Challenge Queensland, we don't just treat the addiction. We are so passionate about helping the men and women in our centres to identify what those underlying issues are that led them down that path of addiction. Our program is holistic. It speaks to the spirit, the soul and the body. And we do all of this without receiving any government funding. Friends, that's why this night matters. That's why you matter. Because your generosity doesn't just impact a line in our budget. It writes a new story in someone's life. It helps fund beds and counsellors, meals, electricity, medication, education, and above all, the human connection that says, you are worth fighting for. As we look to the future, we carry an audacious hope to see Teen Challenge Queensland grow in strength, impact and reach. But more than anything, we want to see more lives restored, families reunited, cycles of addiction broken and more futures rewritten. And we can't do this without you. Tonight, you can be a part of someone's comeback story. You can help rewrite a chapter from despair to destiny. Because when a life is transformed, it has a ripple effect to families, to communities, to the next generation. Let me leave you with this. For 54 years, Teen Challenge Queensland has stood on the front line of addiction, armed not just with programs, but with love and the belief that every life matters. And with your help, we'll keep standing for one more alley, one more family, and one more future. So tonight, let's not just celebrate what has been, but let's invest in what could be. Because together, you and I, together, can see an end of addiction, one step, one story, one soul at a time. Thank you and God bless.